Welcome to Startup Health TV, where we celebrate the entrepreneurs and innovators who are transforming health. I'm Logan Plaster. My guest today is Chrissa McFarlane, CEO and founder of Patientory. Chrissa, always good to catch up with you.
Always. Thanks, Logan.
So we've been talking for years. You started this company, really innovative approach to patient data and how to make it actionable for people. Tell us where Patientory is in 2023.
Absolutely. So as you know, Patientory, we're a digital health data wallet. We secure and aggregate health information for consumers to also help them monetize their data, right? And connect them with research and clinical trials. So last time we caught up, we were in the middle of a pandemic. We had just partnered with Moderna in helping them to identify underrepresented cohorts for the COVID-19 vaccine. Since then, we've pretty much been going down the road of clinical trial recruitment, using the network to really query and identify candidates for clinical trial and making partnerships, with organizations that can help get those individuals into these trials.
Nice. Let's pull back a little bit and talk about the challenge of clinical trial recruitment. It's a huge issue in terms of, look, we've got these great trials moving forward and they're stuck because we can't find the right people. So tell me a little bit about why that's such a big global issue.
Yeah, well, 80% of trials don't even get through the door because they don't meet the requirement for finding their cohorts. You know, phase one, you can get away with it because you have up to probably a handful of people, but when you really start to get into those phase three trials, which last year the FDA, reported guidelines that they need to be diverse, which is now a requirement for sponsors and pharma to meet. Before, 90% of trials were homogenous. It was your typical white male who
European descent.
Exactly. So it's an issue. And the ability to acquire data and really, help out in these challenges is pretty much where we saw value.
Okay.
With the Patientory wallet. In order to, help. So we've been expanding and growing partnerships, working with CROs, decentralized platforms that manage clinical trials as sites to help them on those recruitment initiatives.
Okay, so you've got a digital wallet, you're compensating folks, they're more owners over their own data, they're earning money if their data is being used. How do you go out and find these folks? Because you got to do that before you can pay them.
Yeah, so, we've built out our blockchain, which is, we were pretty much on the early days in the industry building out our own blockchain to integrate and collect health information. We've joined a number of consortias. Yeah, I'm on the board of Care Equality, which is, works with the federal government on setting the standards for health data exchange. So with those partnerships, in the 21st Century Cures, we're able to integrate that and decentralize the data that's already collected by these organizations, which ensures that our population, as we continue to scale, has access to their information.
Okay, so it sounds like the kind of circles you've moved in and influence you've had, you have gained sort of, very essential access to groups of patients that you can then introduce this product to.
Yes, and technologies, as we know, the whole hype around this conference has been AI, but people haven't really been specific on how they're getting their data.
Yeah.
And and the value I saw, almost 8 years ago was building that infrastructure. And why we decided to build a decentralized infrastructure, because we believe that having this data, but also having people own that information is how we can incorporate these technologies like AI. So when we want to query, when we want to identify, go out and see who these people are, the data already exists. It's just up to, us to be able to meet people where they need to be.
This is a bit of a sidestep of a question, but I am reminded that you are considered a real pioneer of blockchain in health. And so you and I will both remember how hot blockchain was.
It was a buzzword.
As a conversation 4-5 years ago. And so you must be feeling a little bit like the conversational hype around AI is a little reminiscent of that. So I don't know, what are your thoughts about the current fervor having been through being at the forefront of the blockchain fervor?
Yeah. Well, I definitely see the need for AI. I know, blockchain is here to stay. I had one of our advisors say, the web isn't going anywhere and we have to improve the web. Now it's redefined as Web 3 when we think about blockchain. But I really see it as a culmination of these different technologies that need to work together.
Yeah.
Especially in healthcare when we think about improving overall patient experiences.
Yeah, I guess my question is more around like the hype cycle, where it's like you look around and something gets so hot that you have to really work harder to identify what's real and what's not. So you said like AI, like, well, where's your data coming from? During the blockchain hype cycle, you really had to dig in and figure out what was real and what was going to last. And like, that's important technology, but I'm also recognizing that a lot of you are going to kind of
fall by the wayside.
And so the same sort of caution maybe comes into play today.
Exactly. And I think with AI, we're just at the beginning. People have been working on this for years, but we're really, with the hype, really trying to find that product market fit, so to speak. And of course, like all hypes, there is a downward cycle until we can actually see, real world benefits. And ultimately, what we want to see is adoption, mass adoption.
To go back to something you said before about getting compensated for clinical trials, that's a core piece of your platform. How much can someone make taking part in clinical trials?
Yeah, well, it depends. It depends on the disease state, where we see, rare diseases are, of course, much harder to identify. So they have higher tickets, so to speak. We focus on acquiring, of course, chronic disease patients, anywhere from a couple, $100 or so. It all depends on what the rates are around that.
Got it.
As a consumer product and what we're building, we're really focused on building that trust, with the consumer and really realizing their holistic data set, which can also improve the value.
Yeah. What are you excited about what's coming next for Patientory?
Next for us is, we're at health. We're looking to, continue to create meaningful partnerships for growth. So for us, it's getting the word out there and growing our user base. I've had people come up to me and ask me, what do you guys do? And they're like, what, Health Data Wallet? They had no idea that was a thing or that was even possible.
So get the word out, find good partnerships. What would be an example of an ideal partner for you right now?
Right now, we're really looking to target, I mentioned some earlier, decentralized clinical trial companies that are using technology to, get patients into trials.
Okay. And then come along as their digital wallet partner?
Exactly.
Got it.
Exactly.
That makes sense. All right. Well, Chrissa, always good to get an update from you. I hope that the right person is watching this and reaches out, but it's exciting to see how you're upgrading the clinical trial process and giving people more autonomy over their own data.
Thank you, Logan.
Thanks for the
Always
update.
a pleasure.
Thanks for the update.